when she hears I'm talking. So welcome to today's session, and it's an interesting one. I'm going to do it twice, which means even for this Excel session, I'm taking the same topic as I will take for the Power BI session. I will start in 2 hours. So if you feel you want to do it again, then you will join the Power BI. I'll share the link so you can watch me do the same thing twice and maybe get it ingrained in your memory better. So today's topic is a demo on Power BI Git integration. It's one of the latest things that came up in the last 3 months officially, though I've been able to test it since March, but not exhaustively. Is it March? Well, I've been aware of the announcement since March when Microsoft made it open to MVPs. I mean, made the announcement to us. So to cut short the introduction so we can go straight to the demo, this session is brought to you by your BZEDGE and MHS Analytics. Is the same company. Your BZEDGE is the Nigerian entity that has always been around since 2014. We provide trainings on Excel, Power BI, financial modeling. MHS Analytics is the same company, but now in Canada and trying to do more of products and consulting. So my name is Michael Olafusi. I'm the founder of MHS Analytics, also your BZEDGE, and I've been an MVP for 9 years, actually since 2014. I was not renewed in one particular year, otherwise it would be 10 years. I'll share my LinkedIn connection so that if we are not connected on LinkedIn, you can add me. I accept all connections except people who I'm scared of. So I'm not going to say more than that. There's some people who, once you see their connection, you will know it's not the person. They're using someone else's image. So I'm sharing the link to my. All right. In the demo, in the announcement, for those of you who got the announcement, let me go to the announcement page. I shared some link, right? Let me share them all over again, so that you will be aware that there are some documentation Microsoft has created already. Okay, so we're going to start. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to. I hope that I will be able to hear you because I've not seen anybody say anything. So it's very difficult to know if I can hear you. But if you raise your hand, I will know that maybe you feel like I've ignored you. So let's start with maybe the source of it all. And Microsoft is trying to make Power BI a full. Can you zoom? Okay. So Microsoft is trying to make Power BI fully source control compatible. A lot of people have been asking for it, but the problem has been the fact that because it saves as a binary file, PBIX, it's very difficult to have source control. So recently, Microsoft has done something where you can now save Power BI as a project file. And then I'm going to do the demo from start to end. Let me start with, let's start with an empty account. So what are the things we need? We're going to use 3 resources actually. Power BI that we already have and know. We're going to use GitHub Desktop to help us to sync between Power BI and the source control itself. And we're also going to use Azure DevOps. So currently it can only connect to Azure repo. And so I'm going to start from the one that we're familiar with. So how are we going to do all of this within Power BI? I'm going to have created a demo account for us to use. Let me just go home. So I'm going to illustrate first of all let's start from the Power BI side of things. Okay, so I hope you still see my screen. Let me see if I can zoom more. I think someone mentioned that I should zoom. Display settings. Let me go to 250. Okay, so let's start with Power BI. Most of the settings will happen on the cloud, not here. So you're not going to really do much of the different things to make this work. Will not happen on your local Power BI. You have to first of all So let's go here. So I go to my Power BI home, and then if you notice, this is a new account. I actually created it today. Okay, so I'm going to enable. I want to create a workspace. You need to create a pro or premium workspace. So you see, this is brand new, nothing in it. So I'm going to try to create a workspace. Uh, I think it will complain. Let me be sure I'm using the account. Yeah, it should complain and say I don't have a pro account. So, oh no, this is a pro account already. Not a problem. So I'm going to try to, I want to use a premium account, but let's start first of all, workspace, new workspace. I'm going to call these fabric because I might use it for other things. So demo all things new in Power BI and fabric. Actually, fabric. So fabric is the parent name. Power BI is within fabric. As for domain, I don't have a domain tied to my Power BI account. So I'm going to leave that part. I will leave all of these. I actually want to enable premium per user. So I'll come to that later, but let's just leave that and go to create a new workspace. So once I create the workspace, I'll go to workspace settings. Check the charts. I hope everything is clear now, like you see my screen much visibly, right? So I go to I go to workspace settings. Now, this is the interesting thing. You will notice that maybe not so many of you have noticed this, they keep moving things around, but there's something interesting. You see this GitHub, right? So this Git integration. This is the thing that makes it possible. Let me see if I can enable a premium license trial. So let's try. Because if you see, it says you need a premium license for this to work. And let's see if I can enable a trial. Actually, the enable a premium trial was showing here. Let's see if it's still there. I'm going to log out and log back in. Okay, great. Start a trial. Let's see. Free trial. Yes, let's start that. Okay, great. So good. I wanted you to see the whole step, so I tried not to do too much in mine. So now that has enabled. So this was what I did. I enabled a trial. With that, I'm going to change this workspace and make it a premium workspace. So I'm going to go back here. So I'm going to give it a premium, attach it to a premium license. So with this, I will be able to enable the Git integration. So I'm going to apply this. Yes, go ahead. So now I'll come back here and you will see that this is now editable. I can make changes, but right now, okay, you are seeing something here. Unfortunately, I had done that part. If I had known, I wouldn't do it, but I'll show you how I did or what we need to do. Well, at least number one is you now know where to go. You know two things now, that you need to create a workspace. And number two is that the workspace needs to be a premium workspace, whether premium per user or premium capacity, as long as it's premium, it's not just pro. So we've done that part, and you go to workspace settings, then you will see that in the Git integration, you can now attach, your workspace to a Git repository. So now, how do we do this part? You need to go to dev.azure.com. This is completely free account. Like, you don't need to pay money or it's free. I've set it up maybe 2 or 3 times, just in preparation. I didn't do only demo. This demo I'm doing now is not the first I'm doing. I've done to some people somewhere else. So I needed to do a lot of testing. So let me show you what will happen when you do this. When you go to Azure, let me try it on. Let me try it on an Ignito browser, a private browser. When you go to dev.azure, okay, so it's going to show this way, right? All you need to do is start free. So once you click start free, it will tell you to sign in. You need to have a Microsoft account. So like any account you already have on probably your office.com, your email that is already your Power BI account is even the easiest. It's better you use that. So the advantage is use your Power BI account, and what will happen is you see what I have here. Because I'm using the same Power BI account, my username here is what I put in when I got to this place. So instantly it detected everything attached to that email address. Apologies that you are hearing background noise. It's my daughter, but there's nothing I can do. So you use that email and instantly it will pop up here. I don't want to do it again. If I put my email here, it will automatically know that I have an account and it will log me in. And so let me just try to complete that. Let's see. Asking me for connection. So I'll put OTP, not OTP, authenticator. Okay. So I'll be back to what you already see in that other screen. See? Now that we are back in the same place, in your own case, there will be nothing here, which, yeah, I think, yeah, there will be nothing. You will need to create a project. So I had to, let me see if I can delete. I don't think it will let me delete a project. It has to be a default project. But anyway, what will happen is for you, when you log in, right, you won't see this. You will need to create a new project. So you'll call the project whatever name you want. Once you create a project, you will now have exactly what I have here. So within the project, you will have a lot of resources. You have your Azure DevOps boards, you have pipelines, you have many things. But for this case, what we need is the repo because we want to use the repo. So when you come here, by default, when you create a project, it will create all of these. So you will get these, fabric is empty, you get all of these, okay? So the moment you are here, you need this connection, this particular one. So you need this to be able to clone this repo within your, I will open my GitHub desktop. Yeah, I hope I pronounced it correct. But let's complete what we started. Let's complete this part. So how do you will notice that my account, you see, Mike0847, it detected it, right? So all I needed to do was to just create an account in dev.azure.com, completely free. You don't have to pay for it. So let's see. It will detect this. It will detect that I have a project called Fabric. But you also see detected that I have, when you create a project, it will automatically create a repo that has the same name as the project. So you'll see it automatically detect that I have a repo called the same name, Fabric. And it will ask me which branch. So right now I've not created a branch, and that's why this is empty. Okay. All I did was I just created a project and it created all of the artifacts, like it just created a repo with the same name. So we're going to create a branch. Okay. So I'm going to go to branches. I'm going to, what would be the fastest way? You know what? I'm going to let me leave this one. Let's create a new repository so you even see how the repository works. So I'm going to leave it as Git. I'll create a repository. I'll call it demo, right? And then I'll show you something. If I disable README, it will look like this. It will look exactly like this. If I go here, manage repository, if I delete the repository that I just created, this one, delete demo, and if I go back here, repo, new repository, demo, but I leave this README there, and I do create. So you notice a difference. It creates a README file, and it creates like a folder, a folder view. So let's see. Do I want to create a folder now? Okay, so let's even the difference is back to what I was trying to show us. The difference is right now, when I did branch, I didn't have any, when I did the fabric, I didn't have a branch, right? Now, if I pick, I need to close here, refresh. Refresh here. So if I go back to workspace settings, for some reason, it has not yet detected that I have a new, okay, yeah, correct, fabric, yes. Repository C, demo. Now, branch has something, right? Main. But when I picked here, fabric, I didn't have branch, right? So the difference is this. Let me repeat. The fact that when I did repo, when I went to manage repo, if you create, let me delete this again, demo. If you create a repo and you don't add a README file, it will not create a main branch. See, your repository will be initialized with a main branch. So if I don't do this, I don't get it. So you might find that it might be faster for you to just add a README file. That way you will get a branch instantly initialized for you. So that's the point I want to bring out. So I'm going to do that because that makes things faster. So I'm going to just again recreate it. So in case you do yours and you notice that you're not able to see anything when you clicked on branch, this is one quick way to get that done. So now that I've explained that, I'm going to go back here, because if I go here, you will see that let me just show you. Repo. Great. So this demo has file and it has branch instantly. You can create a new branch if you want. I'm going to leave it as the default main branch. So I'm going to again just close the refresh so that it picks all the new changes I've done. Go back here, go to workspace settings, go to Git integration, pick organization, which will automatically sync as long as you use the same email address. Okay. Pick demo, set the branch as main. I don't intend to create any special folder, so I'm going to just let it be there. If you want, you can create a folder here. You can create a folder, new folder. But I'm looking at time, so let's not waste too much time on this. I'm going to say connect and sync. So what will happen is instantly, anything I put into this workspace will be monitored by source control. So let's try. I'm going to come here. I need to log out of my existing accounts. So let's say I'm going to log out of this one, sign in with a different account, use that same account. And my cards, MHS Analytics. Okay. If you have any question, please feel free to ask. And then say school, yes. To put my password. Change things. screen for put this happy alone. Okay, so let's see how it works. Okay, we have actually done there's one more step level, but we've done the two most important things. We've set up on Power BI, and we've also set up, right here on the dev.azure. So we've done two of the most important parts. Okay, so right now I have in my repo, I have the demo repo that I've hooked up to the Power BI workspace. I hope that is clear. So what we want to do is, what new enhancement does this create? So how do we use this setup that we have, done? I'm going to publish a report. So I'm going to look for, I created one not long ago. Okay, so I created a dummy Azure, a dummy AdventureWorks report. Sorry if I don't look too coordinated. No, my mind is split between here and where my daughter is. I don't know what she's doing. So let's just do this. I'm going to just make this completely, fill up the entire space. Then we will do minor changes. This report is, by the way, let me show you how I did this report in case you're interested, right? So what I have is, I have a GitHub environment. So in my GitHub account, I have put in AdventureWorks package files. So you can download these package files and use them for your practice data. Then in addition, if you want to see how it works, AdventureWorks. AdventureWorks diagram. So I'm also going to, let's see if I can share this image. Ctrl-J, copy link address, schema. So you can get the schema from that link. It's a very, to me, I think it's the most comprehensive company the dummy data, like demo data you can use. So instead of you creating things from scratch, this is very comprehensive. So I have already taken time to take a few tables from it, person. So what I did was I went inside, I picked sales. I picked this sales table, sales, this one. I picked sales territory. I picked salesperson. Then I picked the one that gives the details of the sales itself. So I picked those 4 files, and I think I picked another one person file from HRDB or HR schema. Okay, so I'm going to publish this. I click on publish. Now, what I want you to notice is when I publish it into this workspace, right, you will see the familiar that there's something new here. But in addition, you will see something that comes from the source control. So I'm going to say I want to put it in a Fabric workspace. So it will start publishing. Same experience as we already are used to. Okay. Okay, so it's done. I'll go here. Now you'll notice that in addition to me seeing the report, as usual, you see the report itself, you see the database side. I'm seeing source control, which says I have 2 reports or 2 artifacts that have not been committed. I'm going to click on source control. So now I'm going to commit them. So I'll say, okay, initial, I'll say, publishing of adventure works sales report. Okay, so I'll select that these are the two things I want to commit. And the moment I click on commit, I will show you what will happen. This is actually empty. This was what it was before, right? It had just the README file we created upon creating this repo, right? Now, by the time that is done and I refresh this, you will see that we have more. We will have these two. We'll have some things. We'll have two folders. So the report will be its own folder. The data set will be its own folder too. And let's go check. So I'm going to refresh this. Do you see that? So I have a report data. I have the data set folder, and I also have the report folder. Okay. So I will come back to explain how this works. But right now I have committed changes from here that flowed into the Azure repo, right? How do I get to pick them within my, how will I pick those changes within my Power BI? So that's the third part, that is the third tool that we need to set up. So we've set up the Power BI workspace settings. We've set up the dev.azure repo side. So one part is missing. So for that one part that is missing, the easiest way to set it up is to use GitHub desktop. Okay. So I'm going to just show you. If you go and you do GitHub desktop download, okay. So you'll see the tool itself. I've downloaded it and installed, so I'm not going to reinstall it. But once you install it, right, what will happen is you will have this. So you will have GitHub desktop. I'm opening it. So this is it, right? So for you, nothing will be here. The first thing it will show you is that you need to clone a repository. So what you will be having is a view that will be like this. So you need to clone because you don't have anything. It's empty, most likely, except you've been using the tool before now, or you've set up some repo already. It will be empty. So now you have three options. Is it github.com that you want to clone? Is it GitHub Enterprise? So GitHub Enterprise is like a github.com, but for enterprise use. But what we are using, if you remember, what we are using is Azure repo. This is what we call Azure repo. We are using Azure repos. We are not using github.com. We are not using GitHub Enterprise. So we need to, come here and say what we are using. Well, for Azure repo, you need to use a URL. That's the answer anyway. You need to use a URL. How do you get the URL that you need to use? That's the interesting part. I'm going to open for you one of the resource did I share it? Okay, I didn't share it. Let me grab the link. To open this. And then okay, copy this. Let me just open the link. I'll also share it. So this is the link for the GitHub desktop settings steps to connect to Azure repos. I forgot to put the link. So I'm going to do all this, but I just want to show you that for us to get it done, we need to go back to our Azure DevOps account, create personal access token, then get the URL directly from our repo and make some change. Just put our username here, and the repo. So all of this can be easily done. I'm just showing you that you might need to follow that instruction when you're doing yours. So I'm going to come here and I will pick I will go straight to the parent folder. Okay, great. So when I'm here, I'll pick this link. So this link, I'll copy it. Then I'll go here. I'll paste it. So when I paste it, I will now come in here and put my username. So my username is Mike. Okay. And then I'll let it, I'll tell it to do to demo. Let's see. I hope I don't have anything there. So I'll leave it this way. I'll leave it in this local part. Most of the time you leave it there anyway. So I click on clone. So it will tell me that it can authentication failed. I need to put my username. I need to put blah, blah. So I'm going to now put my username. And then this is the interesting thing. So for password, you need to use your personal access token, not your password, not your password to Power BI or to the DevOps. So I'll go here, go to user settings, go to personal access token. So I'll create a personal access token. So I'll click on create. Then as regards the name of the token itself, I'm going to call it, I'll just call it demo, okay? And then when do I want it to expire? Because I'm doing a demo, I'm going to just leave it like this. So for me, what I did was I did full access, right? So once I hit create, right, it will create. Okay, let me just show you the full step. Maybe I'll delete it afterwards. So once I hit create, it will create. Then it will show only once. It will show only upon creation. So you need to use it. You need to take it now because, it will only show once. If you navigate away from this space, from this page, or you close this modal, you can't access it again. You need to create another one. So I'll copy it, then come here, put it as the password, then save and retry. And then you see it's connected. So it will tell me that it's connected to the demo repository, to the main branch. So I'll do fetch. So with fetch, if I go to the folder, because I don't know if you noticed, it also told me to pick where it will use sync it on my local storage, and it was in GitHub and it was demo. So this is it. So you see that I now have the adventure works, right? Okay, great. So I have everything now in here. So what makes it interesting is whatever changes, let's go back here. So let's go here. This is the report I created. Open it. So this report, whatever changes I make on this report, right? It will reflect in my local repo once I sync. And then if I make changes also here, it will reflect here once I sync. So let's start with the interesting one. Let's make a change on our local. So I'm going to close this one. I don't need this anymore. I just wanted to show you, start from where we already know. So I'm going to now stop using PBIX and start to use these project files. So I'm going to turn off this preview pane. Great. So reports, by the way, maybe this is the time to show you. Okay, let's start with even how it works, then I can explain to you what you see in these folders. But these are the two project folders. So every report you create in Power BI, we always have a report folder and a dataset folder. Within the report folder is what I will have, is where I will have the actual Microsoft Power BI, definition reports. You can see this PBIR.PBIR file. So this is what you will click on. It's always a small KB file. So it's like 1 KB, because what it's doing is it's pulling together all of those resources across these two folders. So no longer am I having one file that is huge. I will be having, folders. The same way if you are used to creating, using Visual Studio or creating websites, software, always is a solution. Solution, like there's a solution folder and then different artifacts in different folders. So I'll go here. I'll open this .pbir. Once I open it, you will notice that it will open the report. See, it's launching a Power BI, and it will open the reports as I would have with a PBIX. So I will tell you something interesting. By the first time you open it, right, it will tell you there are no data. There are no data. And the reason is you notice all these are 1 KB, 1 KB file. The model.beam is the model file. It stores all of my Power Query and the models itself. But I don't have any big size looking data, right? So what has happened is it synced everything, but the data is not there. Data is not included. So the first thing you will need to do is refresh to now directly connect to the data and bring it in. So because I have the connection settings, if this is the first time you are doing this, and it's a report that you didn't build on this computer, it will tell you to log in. So now that I do this, if I save, you will notice something will happen that was not there before. Before, right, in my data sets, I didn't have this PBI, this .pbi. Now I have it, and this is where it's saving the data. So it's called a catch.abf. So this is what is now like a local cache of the data itself. And what that means is I probably will not need to do this every time I open this file until maybe there's another change. So it saved a local copy of the file now. I mean, of the data within it. So let's now do the interesting part. Let's begin to add more to this report. So let's make it look like a proper report. I'm going to say, what if you want to add let's look for date time within our data. So we have sales. That's good. So let's see how many. This is a very good length of period. So I'm going to come here. I'll add a slicer. And then I'll add date in there. I'm going to add, I think it was due date, right? So I'll add that here. And what if we even give our report a name? I'm going to insert a text box. I'm going to call, let me drag it up. I'm going to call this Adventure Works National, no, Global, it's a global sales report, global sales report. I'll make this centralized. I'll make it bold. Okay, great. If I have a logo, I'll use a logo, but for now, let's even start with this. Maybe this is all the change I've made. I'm building this report gradually, right? So I've made these changes, okay? Once I save, see, I hit save, right? I go to the GitHub desktop. You see, it has noticed that I've made changes. It has noticed that there's an update to this copy that is not on the remote one, right? So I'm going to commit these changes. So I'm going to say I added title and a date slicer. Once I hit commit to main, it will commit, then I'll say push to origin. Push to origin, we now push it back to the Azure repo. So now watch the interesting part. I'm going to go back to the web, go back to the workspace. All I need to do is just refresh the workspace. It will detect after, sometimes it takes some seconds, it will detect that there is a change. See, you have unsynced commits from Git. So it has detected that there's something different, on the repo already that is not reflecting here. So I'm going to click on source control. It will say there are changes made to these, artifacts, these two artifacts. I'm going to say update all. Oh, I thought I agree. So it's updating. It's saying to update all these works, you need to resolve some conflicts. Well, I don't think it will affect anything. I think I've seen it once before. I think it shows the first time you are doing the sync. So I'm going to open this report again, and we will see the change we have made. I didn't publish. Remember that I only made changes here and saved. I did not publish. I didn't come here and say publish, So good. So let's see. Can you see that this report is reflecting everything I have done? I didn't hit publish. Okay. So let's also do the other way around. I'm on the Power BI service, right? I click edit. So most of us know that whenever we make changes here on the Power BI service, you even hate it. You don't want to make changes here because you will never have a local copy of it. You have to probably come back here and download it so that you can now have a local copy, right? So I'm going to make changes here. We are going to, in fact, let's do something really, really drastic. I'm going to create a new report page. I'm going to add a different type of chart, a pie chart. So I'm going to say, do I have sales territory by group, country? Okay, let's still use country. So by country, and then sales, total sales. Total due. Let's put that. Okay. For now, let's not worry too much about the relevance of the report I've created, Let's just make very obvious things, right? So I'll say retreat regionals. Regional. So I've done like two big types of changes. I have created a new page that was not existing in the original report that we've worked on, right? And what's the second thing? I've also created new visual, So I'm going to save it, right? Go back to the reading view. Now, what you'll find is when I go to the workspace, take some seconds, it's going to detect that I have made changes to this report that are not synced to the GitHub, that are not synced to the Azure repo. So sometimes I try to help it by refreshing. Okay, so see, it says it can detect that there are changes made to the report layer that has not been committed. So I'll go to source control. I'll say I added a new page and sales pie chart. Okay, so I'm going to commit this change and then, okay, that was really fast. So it's done. Now I am going to see that here. That's what I want to show you. So if I close this, that's this thing, you need to actually close it and reopen it. So if I go back here and I reopen, before I even do that, I need to sync. So let's go to the GitHub, to the GitHub desktop. Where is it? This one. So I need to, sync. It will tell me that, oh, there's something on the Azure repo that I've not put to my own on the remote that is not yet on my local. I'll say pull. Okay. All right. So it will have pulled them. Then what I will need to do is simply go back to this folder. If you look at the timestamp, some things will have changed. Let's go to the report side. Since most of the changes we made are on the report, you'll see that the timestamp for the report JSON has changed. These ones have not changed because no changes were made. So it has updated this to reflect whatever it is I have done. Anyway, this is the one you need to open. So once I click on definition.pbir, okay. For me, this is amazing. The fact that I don't need to publish, I can make changes anywhere and I can always sync back and forth. I don't have to be like remembering, oh, did I download the local copy? See, do you notice that it's showing regional sales, So this is it. It's as simple as this, actually. If you want to make things more complicated a bit, you can decide to now, hook up and go here and look at that brings me to what all these files are. If you open this in Visual Studio Code or Notepad++, you can now begin to see what is inside, and make changes, but you have to be careful. So first of all is Microsoft recommends that you use Visual Studio Code. So let's go with Microsoft's recommendation. I'm going to go to Visual Studio Code, but this is it. That's just, I want to do more than I want to maybe start editing the codes themselves, like editing the JSON, the text files. So if I go to, I will open a folder. So I'll navigate to the demo folder. I'll say this is the folder I want it to go to. You will see it will show me, shows me everything. So I can begin to look into everything. So this makes it easy if you want to change. You don't want to go change it on the report layer. You just want to edit it directly. You come here, but you have to be careful. Why? It's not everything that Microsoft is allowing us to edit. So if you change what you are not supposed to edit, you can corrupt the entire report. So for now, you have to be careful. That brings me to the documentation I gave us. You need to, let me go click on one of the links. So you need to be aware that, not this one. So you need to be aware that in the folders, right? These the folders we talked about, right? So JSON, what each folder does, local settings, is local editor settings. By default, this will be ignored by Git. Catch will also be ignored by Git. So that's why when I synced, I had to re-download the data and it now created a local copy of the catch. So they mentioned there are some things they don't expect you to modify because, well, they don't want you to, they've not built in the functionality to allow you to modify them. So something like this, this file does not support external editing. So they make it clear that it's not everything. Even though you can access everything, you should not go trying to modify everything at this text data level. So, but the beautiful thing is maybe I've changed our logo, image. I don't need to download the entire report anymore. What I need to do is just point it to the new image. So I'll simply, I'll go here, DevOps. And you can access this on the web. That's the beautiful thing. So I go in here, and so something like image will be in, I think image will be in reports, and it will be in report JSON. So if I had included a logo, let's try and do that so that you see where it ends up in. Let's add a logo. Insert image. I don't have a logo for, let me just add MHS logo. This logo. Well, let me not over design it. So I have added this logo. I'm going to save this. All I need to do is just save. That's all. Once I save it, I go again to GitHub desktop, it's been noticed that, they have made a change, right? So what I'm going to do is commit this change. So I've added a logo. Push to origin. Go back here to Power BI and remember what I said, you might need to refresh, give it some seconds, it will detect. So see, it's detected that there is a change at the Azure repo that is not reflected here. So go to source control, update all. So any questions from anyone? Because this is the end actually. So if I come here, I will now have, I don't know why this thing keeps telling me to sign. I'll have a report that has a logo now. And remember, I didn't do anything called publish. I didn't publish. See? So what I was trying to point out is when I'm here, so let me just refresh this. If I do Control F, MHS, see? So if I wanted to point to another logo item, I can just come here and make the change directly rather than having to go back here and point. So that's the advantage. So you can begin to change things without necessarily opening the PBIX file or opening the Power BI, whether on your desktop or even here. I don't even think you can. Let's see. Okay, even changes that you can't do here. I think you can change logo. I was about to say you can add an image, but I remember that I think you can add an image. You can add shapes, you can add arrows, text box. So that's the end. Any questions? I hope you got the core part of it, So any questions from anyone? No questions. Does that mean, everything I've done, you got them, or you're still trying to digest them? In the meantime, I would like you to give us feedback. I'm going to share the feedback link. Or any questions from anyone, you can raise your hand, you can type in the chat box. I'll eventually see. But what do you think about this? Do you think this is really interesting? Do you think this is a game changer from, it's going to empower you to do more? Do you see this as something valuable? If you ask me, I think this is the biggest updates. Oh, I see Charlie's hand is up. Sorry, I wasn't monitoring. Let me make as many people. Yeah, please, you can unmute yourself and say, so Charlie.
Hello, good day.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for this tutorial. It was really inspiring.
Yeah,
I just realized I'm not at this point yet. I've played around with GT a couple of times. So this question is a little bit unrelated. I just started my data journey.
Okay.
What advice? I mean, I'm trying to find my way around Power BI. Is there a course you suggest or a certification where I need to really get to?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, thank you too for the question. So before learning Power BI used to be quite straightforward. I wanted to say Microsoft has this thing called Power BI in a day, but you ask me, I've never recommended it to anybody. It's a free course, all right, but to me, it's subjective anyway. I know some people, this is the first thing they're going to recommend to you. A lot of companies, they even have it, they've created it in their SharePoint as anybody who wants to learn Power BI, kind of mandatory that they should take it. So I'm going to share it, but I'll say the reason why I don't consider it a very good resource is, number one is it's Power BI in a day. You can't learn Power BI in one day. Then number two is Microsoft is a software company. Microsoft is not a sales. They are not a typical company. They seldom, well, maybe they are finance and some other people use the Power BI, but the people who are developing these materials, they are not the ones who use it for a business need. So what happens is there's a disconnect. The story, the data, the things you're doing, I find that it has a big disconnect with what you, as somebody supporting a business with Power BI, will be doing. So that's why I don't really recommend it. And then caveat, I would say yes, take a proper course, maybe from us, from anyone else. That's natural because we're a training company. So that's why I don't want to say that one as the number one. But if you ask me sincerely, I would say there are three ways you can learn Power BI. You can learn it the fast, but maybe expensive way, which would be you look for a training, maybe an instructor-led training. If you want online, if you want physical in-person training, that's now left for you. But somewhere someone is guiding you from start to end, that can be the fastest way to at least know in an end-to-end way and be able to go do things by yourself. Then number two is the cheap way, the cheap and not structured way. Let me put it that way. So you can, the same way you came into this webinar, you've learned something, even though what you've learned might be difficult to put to use, but that same way you can go on YouTube, you can get some free courses. You might be lucky that you get some really good quality courses that, will be equal to maybe an instructor-led class, but most of it is on you. Not everybody can follow without somebody guiding them, but that option is there. A lot of us, we didn't take training to know Power BI. We just dived into it. But again, most of us who did that maybe migrated from Excel, something familiar. So it was easy, and Power BI was not this complex then. They've added so many features. So there's still that. Then the third one is, I said first one is instructor-led, can be expensive. Second one is you do free, and then you're just looking for resources everywhere. The third one is online, so self-paced online. So I have a course on Udemy, I have a course on our course platform. Why I'm mentioning mine is that well, I will mention what I know first of all. So we have platforms like this where you can pay for a course. It's already structured, but it's at your own pace. There is no instructor. What we did different in ours is we created a version that is a hybrid. So if you say you want to learn Power BI, and then when you want to choose, there's the money part, and then you can say you want an additional 4 hours class. But in summary, those are the three ways. Whether you pick from us or you can always get cheaper. You can get a provider. I think on Udemy, you probably even see $10. So it doesn't matter how you take it from, but the key thing is you need to know which one you want to go for. So it's all dependent on your own situation. If you have the money and urgency is of importance to you, you want to by next month to be, confident in yourself, already doing things, then I would say easily the instructor-led class trainings will achieve that. If you are already doing a lot of things, you are not under pressure time-wise, you are okay with, self-paced doing it on the side and just absorbing this knowledge and gradually exploring and practicing on your own. Then the going online, joining webinars like these, watching YouTube's, taking advantage of free resources, even the Power BI in a day, that we achieve that for you. And if you are in between, you want to consolidate your effort to one source. You don't want to just consume data here and there, resources here and there. You want one where you think they've done a good work of putting together a complete curriculum, but you won't have to pay as heavily as the instructor led, and you want to take it at your own leisure, at your own pace, maybe 4 hours a week, then I'll say, okay, you can take these self-paced online classes. So I will share the link from us, so if you want to look up our own offerings, then that would be great, but it's not compulsory that you take them from us. That's my answer. Okay, and if you want to take our in-person classes.
Thank you very much, sir. I would love the links, so I'll go to my options. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, any other question from anyone else? Or any comments or contributions, not necessarily question, you have an idea, you have something you want to share, or you're having some scenarios you are trying to explore, you want to bounce the ideas off me. So, anything you feel like will be of value to the entire audience, Anyone? Okay, so if no questions, I'm going to share the feedback link. So just rate this session, and if you want to, and if you would like to present in, or you have someone you want us to invite, you can also share our speaker form. Is there anyone who thinks is going to be using this anytime soon? Do you see yourself using this feature, this Git integration? Anyone? Wow, this is serious. Nobody is going to attempt to use it. Okay, I see someone do it. Someone just did a thumbs up. Okay, so I have like a very silent class today. But thank you for showing up. Thank you for, accommodating the glitches at the beginning where my PC went off, my daughter interrupted. Thank you. I have to go and check. She's super silent. I just hope all is well. So thank you very much. I'm going to end the session now. The recording will be available by tomorrow on our YouTube link. Let me just share that one as the last thing to share. And then, YouTube. Okay, recording will be live by tomorrow. YouTube channel. Okay, so thank you everyone and have a wonderful week ahead. If you think you want to do this a second time, I'll be doing it in about 45 minutes all over again. But I think you people have the best experience because what happened is for this case, I had to create everything from scratch. I had to even sign up for premium to premium trial, which is I can't undo. So the people who will be watching this, who will be part of this second session, they will miss out from that part. Thank you, Grace. A repeat session at 6 p.m. if interested. Maybe by the time you watch it the second time, it will sink in more. No? So thank you very much and have a wonderful week ahead. I'm going to end the entire session now. Bye.